Lines. Troops clear camp of notorious bandit Lawal Kwalba in Kaduna Forest. Flood destroys 1,750 hectares of farmlands, displacing 183 households in Adamawa State. Finance Minister says federal government spends 18.39 billion naira daily on petrol subsidy. And on the foreign scene, Russian, Chinese leaders to attend G20 summit in Indonesia's Bali in November. Hello and welcome to Trans TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. Troops of Operation Forest Sanity involved in the ongoing military operation in Kaduna State have destroyed a camp belonging to a notorious bandit, Lawal Kwalba, located inside a forest at Rafindawa in Chikun local government area of the state. According to the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, the troops conducted a patrol to the location following actionable intelligence. He said that the troops, after clearing the camp, recovered some batteries and 27 bags of fertilizer, suspected to be used by the bandits for the manufacturing of improvised explosive devices. One motorcycle and 2 mobile phones were recovered as the bandits took to their heels before the troops' arrival. The troops, according to the commissioner, extended the search a short distance from the camp and made some arrests, while investigations are ongoing on the intercepted suspects. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has charged the military not to relent in its offensive operations against insurgents in the northeast. He said his government will be focusing attention on orphans and widows of conflict. The president said this during the commemoration of the World Humanitarian Day in Maiduguri. The report.
The presidential jet landed at Maiduguri Air Force Base on Thursday, few minutes after noon. He was welcomed by key government officials and top politicians. The president commissioned Bulunkutu Teachers' Quarters and 500 housing estate in Mulai. During a courtesy visit to the Shehu of Borno, the royal father appealed to the president to consider the continuation of oil exploration and extension of national grid to the Lake Chad Basin. Marking the World Humanitarian Day at the Government House, President Muhammadu Buhari commended the army for securing Borno and smooth resettlement of IDPs. Buhari said his administration will focus on orphans and widows. He told the military not to relent in its effort of eliminating terrorists and destroying their hideouts.
I therefore implore you not to relent in your efforts. Continue to take the fight to their hideouts and ensure they are completely eliminated. Let me use this medium to invite all relevant agencies to continue to provide support to the government's drive to stabilize the IDPs care for victims of insurgency, as well as commitment to the ongoing processes concerning Boko Haram ISWAP members who are willing to surrender.
The PSF has recently supported the government of Borno State in closing 4 of its IDPs at a cost of about 1.7 billion naira, and this is very commendable. Your Excellency, I want to bring to your kind notice that this brings to the conclusion the closure of all former camps within Maiduguri. In view of this, the Borno State government is determined to ensure to begin the closure of IDP camps outside Maiduguri early next year, inshallah.
Mr. President, insecurity has dire consequences, as we've already talked about, and we will continue to advocate for a safe and secure operational environment. The people suffering the greatest consequences of this insecurity are, of course, the affected citizens themselves. I am especially concerned at this moment about the food security and nutrition situation in this region.
The official visit comes a day before the International Humanitarian Day with the theme, "It Takes a Village."
And the Katsina State Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service says it is experiencing a decline in revenue collection due to incessant attacks by gunmen in the area. The area controller, Wadachini, who disclosed this at a press briefing, said it collected 99.7 million between July 1 and August 10th. Jamil Mabai has details.
Katsina, like many other states in the northwest and a part of the north central, has been witnessing a series of bandits' attacks that led to the death of hundreds of thousands of people and the displacement of many others. Jibia, a border town in Katsina State, has also had its shares of such attacks despite the presence of security checkpoints on the road. The area controller said the activities of the gunmen along the Jibia axis of the state have negatively impacted the revenue collection role of the customs.
The revenue in the period under review witnessed a decline simply because we have some instant attacks by the bandits, which put the security under jeopardy, under stress position. But all hands are on deck. From the government, all the security agencies are on to it, seeing how it will be improved. And that's why a call to the public to help the law enforcement agents with the vital information so that we can be able to be on top of the situation.
Chedi said, despite the security situation, his officers succeeded in seizing smuggled items worth 73 million naira. He said the command collected 538 million naira from export in the period under review.
The revenue under review here now, that is 99,777,343. Again, the last month when we had the review in June, which was 104 million naira, if you could remember. When we go to the export, 1,126 naira were exported. Again, the last report during our last press conference, which was almost 2.4 billion.
Other items seized were 126 bags of 50 kilograms and 25 kilogram bags of foreign flour worth over 1.9 million naira, and 7 cartons of milky creamer milk worth 141,000. The controller said the seizure of vehicles used for smuggling has helped in reducing the rate of smuggling activities in the area.
As well as the grader caterpillar on top, which is
adding that 9 vehicles used as a means of conveyance were apprehended. Jamil Mobai, Trust Television, Katsina.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says floods have destroyed 1,750 hectares of farmland and displaced 183 households in Numan local government area of Adamawa State. NEMA head of operations for Adamawa and Taraba, Ladan Ayuba, made this known in an interview in Yola on Friday. He said most of the affected farmlands were areas where rice was being cultivated in commercial quantity. He said the agency conducted an on-the-spot assessment in the affected communities and will soon provide relief packages to the victims, adding that food and clothing have been provided to the victims as a temporary relief measure. Minister of Education Adamu says implementation of the federal government no work, no pay policy is the only condition delaying the truce with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The minister, who spoke on Thursday to newsmen at the State House in Abuja, however, insisted that government will not pay striking workers for the 5 months they were on strike to deter such occurrences in the future. Kende Amodu reports.
It is not surprising that when the Minister of Education chooses to brief newsmen on developments in the sector, the ongoing industrial action by unions in universities will dominate discourse. The minister says 4 out of 5 unions have agreed to call off their strikes, but the same cannot be said about ASU. This is because government will not agree to the condition the lecturers are given to call off their strike.
And let me just tell you what they are asking is they can accept this if the federal government will agree to pay the salary for the month they have not worked. And I told them the federal government will not. I think the stand that the government has taken now, not to pay the month for which no work was done, I think this is the only thing that is in the hands of government to ensure that there is penalty for some behavior like this.
One of the points of departure between the two sides is the platform on which lecturers are to be paid.
The government has not approved UTAS. What I know the last on this issue is a committee has worked and tested all the three platforms, IPPIS, UTAS, U3PS. And the preliminary result shows that these two new ones are better than IPs in so many respects. But the decision of government will depend on what ultimately is given in the report that is being readied now.
Away from strikes, other issues in education that are posing to be a problem are the number of children out of school. The minister says that his initial drive when he resumed office was to declare a state of emergency in education. But he says that any reforms in education must be anchored on states.
As Minister of Education, I'm able to do here will amount to nothing if the foundation of the education system is already rotten. The way our primary schools are, and I would like to say this about governors, especially in the northern states, it is as if they are looking for power to destroy education at the primary school level. Except for few, I don't think there is any governor who has any good story to say about primary education.
The minister is not shying away from being brutally frank on some issues. For instance, when asked who would compensate students for time wasted for the 6-month strike, he said it was the responsibility of ASU to do that and not the federal government. In fact, he's asking the affected students to take ASU to court. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, on Thursday gave an insight to what transpired between the leadership of the union and the delegation of the federal government during Tuesday's meeting headed by the Professor Nimi Briggs-led committee. The president of ASU, Professor Emmanuel Osorike, while giving the insight in a statement issued in Abuja, said they rejected the government's offer because it is miserable, adding that all excuses and offers given by the officials were not tenable. According to the union leader, the government would, through the Ministry of Education, return to the new draft agreement of the 2009 renegotiation committee, whose work spanned a total of 5.5 years, as a demonstration of good faith. The University Don insisted that the government imposed the ongoing strike on ASU and innocent Nigerian students by encouraging it to linger because of its provocative indifference, calling on well-meaning Nigerians to hold the government responsible. Now, the education sector in Nigeria is facing many challenges ranging from out-of-school children, inadequate funding and insecurity. In Katsina State, these challenges hamper the development of not only the education sector, but the state as a whole. Abdullahi Yamadi takes a look at how the out-of-school children phenomenon has impeded the state's quest to have better education for all.
One of the fundamental sectors that ensures the development of any country is education. The out-of-school children phenomenon is a great challenge in attaining this objective. In Katsina State, there were 1 million out-of-school children between 2016 to 2018. Today, the number has significantly dropped to 776,000 children. Authorities in Katsina State attribute the phenomenon to poverty, cultural beliefs, and insecurity.
In this state, that's what we call integrated Quranic schools. We integrated them. We have almost 255 schools in 34 local governments, education authority that we have in the state, or the local government that we have in the state. So we have 255 schools. And the enrollment we have 2 million now, 47,355 pupils.
Amidst of all these challenges, Katsina State, which used to be the citadel of education, is saying its funding of education is one of the best in the country.
Overhead funds in this state is prompt. We receive it almost, I can say, all the time. But the LES, every month, the governor is giving them their overheads. The governor is trying to run the affairs of education successfully.
Stakeholders say that containing the scourge of out-of-school children is a very tedious task. However, the school feeding program and conditional cash transfer initiatives of the state government are playing a great role in controlling the scourge.
Education is major within a period of time. So you find out that students who are supposed to graduate maybe in 3-4 years may likely spend 6, 5, 6, 7 years in the university. And this would translate into having a gap in terms of knowledge and in terms of filling, certain vacancies in the civil service.
All Nigerians agree that the education sector is witnessing its worst time in the history of Nigeria, with university education at a standstill for close to 6 months. The ASU strike on one hand, out of school children and insecurity on the other, put the education sector in Katsina at the edge of the sword. However, the question is, what are the implications of this strike and what are the students doing at best to pass time during the strike?
I now surpass my time in redundancy doing nothing. By the next 2 or 3 months, I'm expecting to have my certificate as a student of School of Postgraduate. But now I don't even know my pet, and there were many like me from all the universities. So in fact, we are not happy.
Educationists want government to declare a state of emergency on education in Nigeria to demonstrate its seriousness in putting the sector back on track. Abdullahi Ismail, Cross Television News, Katsina.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. And still to come on the news. Dealing with the menace of street hawking children. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Which kind of wire you gonna need to light up your light? Oh man, the quality wire. Now which kind of cable you gonna need to light up your house? Oh man, the quality cable. Coleman quality. Coleman wire. Coleman durable. Coleman cable. Coleman tank. Coleman cable for any kind of project. Come and be the come and see, come and see. Come and be the Coleman won't light up your light. Come and be the come and see. Come and be the COLEMANA. Quality, quality. Durable. Now come and be the Baba.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now a recap of our top stories. Troops clear camp of notorious bandit Lawal Kwalba in Kaduna Forest. And flood destroys 1,750 hectares of farmlands, displacing 183 households in Adamawa State. Trust TV Network is to partner the Kano Urban Planning Development Authority and other organizations in Kano to ensure professional information dissemination to Nigerians. At a courtesy visit to some organizations in the state, Trust TV's Chief Operating Officer, Ibrahim Shehu, assured that Trust TV Network, as a new brand of Media Trust Group, is committed to ensuring professional journalism across the country. Correspondent Idris Jibrin reports.
These are management staff of the Media Trust Group in Kano to introduce the establishment of the Trust TV Network and to further extend partnership with some organizations across the commercial city of Kano as part of Trust TV's commitment in documenting the Nigerian story.
Media Trust Group is transiting into the electronic space. We've set up the Trust TV, which has been in operations for over 1 year at the moment, because this week is our 1 year anniversary for Trust TV. And as you know, the television space is saturated. And we come in as Trust TV, we want to build on what Daily Trust has done. As a national medium, we believe at the national stage, we don't have a TV channel that represents the core values of Northern Nigeria. Even though we see ourselves as a national medium, but we want to see ourselves as a northern medium. We want to tell the stories of the North, we want to tell the stories and aspirations of our people, but also we want to add to the national conversations. Sometimes when you watch the national TV stations in quotes and you see the panelists or the programs, you don't see the reflections of ourselves.
While recalling the role of Daily Trust newspapers in information dissemination, Managing Director of the Kano Urban Planning and Development Authority assures that the authority will equally work with Trust TV in carrying out their operations.
The visit is a very wishful visit for us. We were expecting. We are very delighted and we are very happy about the visit. If somebody will travel all along from Abuja to come to you in Kano purposely to appreciate what you are doing, then this visit must be a very recommendable visit.
Meanwhile, the Media Trust Group delegates also visited the Kano campus of the Skyline University and Al-Hamsad Group of Company to introduce the Trust TV brand of the Media Trust Group.
We do have the mass communication program that we are running. We even have our students who will be graduating from the same program this year, inshallah, by November. And at the same time, we are currently working on our labs, the radio lab and the TV station lab that we're working on. So I believe that Registrar, in collaboration with the Dean of the School of Art Management and Social Sciences, will be the right people to look at how we can collaborate and have an MOU towards that angle. Like you clearly said, I mean, it's not, we can't have people who can come in for lectures, for workshop, for conference. We do all that. We do have webinars that we do run. And I mean, when it comes to educational platform, sky is only the beginning. There's so many things that you could do together.
While Trust TV Network celebrates 1 year of uninterrupted transmission, business partners hopes that the company will continue to maintain its current professional standard. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, a cross-section of Benue residents have condemned street hawking by underage children. The act, according to them, is an infringement on the rights of the child and should be stopped. The report.
Across the length and breadth of the Benue state capital, these children who are meant to be under caregivers or better still in school are seen hawking one way or the other.
I feel parents should just take time, face their responsibilities, embrace their responsibilities. You have children to care for, you don't have them to help you. You don't have them to help. They don't need to help you take care of yourself or themselves. If a child is hawking, I think you are making the child work for him or herself. They have to pull their weight in the family, which is wrong. A child should be able to enjoy childhood, be taken care of to a certain age. When they get to that age, maybe 18, then they can begin to think of fending for themselves.
A teacher, Catherine Jinge, says the children hawking have the right to be in school. She added that with street hawking, they are exposed to all forms of danger, including psychological torture.
Because while their children other children are in school, those children too have the right to be in school. And those children who are hawking out there are exposed to so many dangers, especially, I would say, even sexual harassment, because these days you find children being abused sexually. And those children who are out there, they join bad gangs, some go into drugs, and some certain, even psychologically, it affects them.
With the commencement of the political campaigns ahead of 2023 just days away, some fear that these kids could easily be targets for kidnappers and ritualists.
It's not good. One, as a parent, it is good for us to send our children to school so that they can get the education. Secondly, small children, if we just allow them selling on the street, somebody can even kidnap them.
With poverty on the rise, the number of underage children hawking in Benue State has increased. For now, many believe that relevant agencies of government should invoke the provisions of the Child's Right Law or come up with other regulations to stem the trend.
The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, has put the projected daily payment for fuel subsidy at 18.39 billion naira. She stated this during an investigative hearing of the House Ad Hoc Committee, which is investigating the petroleum subsidy regime between 2017 and 2021. And now for a look at the foreign scene, where Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin will both attend the G20 summit in Indonesia, according to Indonesian President Joko Widodo, who will host this year's gathering. The 17th G20 Heads of State and Government Summit will take place in November on the Indonesian resort island of Bali. The G20 is a strategic multilateral platform connecting the world's major developed and emerging economies, which represents more than 80% of the world's GDP, 75% of international trade, and 60% of the world population. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.